Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a semi-realistic portrait using coloured pencils. So let's get into the video. Like always, I started off by sketching the rough proportions of the face. For this illustration, I did not have any reference photos. I was doing it mainly based on some ideas I had in my head. My inspirations were some 80s photos and some models, like mainly Iman, I think. So basically, 80s kind of bright, colourful, and kind of big hair, but not completely copied from the 80s. It's kind of my own style and slightly different, but it's still kind of inspired by the 80s. This is not something I've done very often, so I started off just trying to see what I would do first, and I eventually decided to start on the skin colour. For the skin colour, I went with like a middle kind of brown tone, and I wanted it to show that she was wearing makeup elsewhere other than only her eyes, but specifically on her eyes. For this, I used my collection of coloured pencils, which I have collected over the years. They're not all from the same brand, they're just random coloured pencils that slowly accumulated in this bag I keep them in. And I started off doing like quite low strokes, just trying to get the colour down onto the paper, and then I slowly tried to blend it more. For her eye makeup, I wanted to go with some blues and some greens, kind of going for like a cat's eye look where the colour slowly blends towards a green colour. So, as you can tell, my blue colour that pencil I used was about an inch long, a couple of centimetres at best. So it was a little tricky to hold, but it has the best colour ever. It is such a pigmented colour pencil. I love it so much. why it's so small. And then because when I had coloured the skin in, I had left some space toward the inner part of the eyelid white, but I had done the outer part of the eyelid, I'd coloured that in. So it was a lot harder to get the green to show up. I also did use some red on the cheeks, as you saw, and I used some yellow around the eyes as well for a better green consistency. I then went over with some shading, trying to add more colour to the cheeks in places where there was a bit more colour, and just to shade in, maybe add like some dimension to the face as well. I did try and make it show that the nose isn't just part of flat on the face and it kind of like protrudes out a tiny bit. The ears aren't great. I didn't look up any references, as I said at the beginning, and I still don't know how to draw ears. I wanted to add some blush kind of places, some shading and that kind of stuff. I also wanted to blend the colours together a bit better because I didn't do a great job originally. So I went in, blended, added shading, just stuff like that. I then started to colour in the eyes of my character. I wanted to go for a kind of hazel colour so it wouldn't be too different from the other kind of colours I've got here, because I've got greens and I've got browns and blues. So I want to go for hazel, but I don't want. But I was originally going to go for brown, but I felt like it wouldn't have enough contrast, sort of. So I went for a hazel colour, and I think it looks quite cool. So yeah. I did also put in a small part of their neck and shoulders, so I went in, shaded that, kind of blended it in. Not as well as I did the face blending, but I just added a bit of shading, simple stuff. And now for the part that I had been dreading, the hair. I wanted it to look kind of like the sort of 80s, but kind of like a little bit brought back down. But I wanted it kind of like neon, but also shaded enough. I don't like how the hair turned out. I think I did a terrible job of showing that it's a hair and not just some sort of cap or hat. Um, the texture isn't great. It would have been great if I had been able to blend it better. The transitions between the colours is also very choppy and doesn't look the best. So I know I need to work on doing different hair textures because it's supposed to be a little bit more wavy here, like even slightly curly, but I clearly did not do a great job of that. And ears I need to work on as well, as I mentioned before. And that's the final illustration finished. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.